Jimmie Johnson's second 500 win a portent, while Danica Patrick's breathlessly hyped pole and top 10 highlights the disconnect between plate racing and real racing. In the week-to-week scrum which followed, the green car sank quickly into the ruck, while 5-time was always a contender. But pedigree is no guarantee. The reigning Sprint Cup champ not only failed to defend, he didn't even make the chase. Legions of critics laughed up their sleeves. BK's challenge silenced them with future results. Joining the non-contenders, Denny Hamlin, whose feud with Joey Logano ended in an injurious crash, and the two-time champ Tony Stewart, whose badly broken leg reminds us why car owners discourage racing in other series. Smoke, of course, is co-owner of the year's most fascinating team. After Tony signed Kevin Harvick a year in advance, the resulting lame duck season at Richard Childress Racing was overshadowed by Kevin's long shot at the championship, until this truck race tangle with his nepotistic replacement proved all was not peaches and cream at RCR. But any question how Harvick might mix with his new owner is spectacularly overshadowed by the team's other new hire. Kurt Busch this year took the Furniture Row racing team all the way to the chase. Overachievement so spectacular that Tony's partner, Gene Haas, was inspired to hire Busch without consulting his hospitalized co-owner and over Stewart's subsequent public objection. If the driver lineup in that now 4-car team doesn't redefine team chemistry, the behavior of the co-owners just might. And what of this year's big driver shuffle? Well, certainly Matt Kenseth's move from Roush Fenway to Joe Gibbs Racing produced a huge leap in performance. Matt's series-leading 7 wins propelled him to full-blown title contention, right down to the team's shocking collapse in the next-to-last race of the year. Replaced by Kenseth, Joey Logano moved to Penske, posted career-best numbers, and made his first chase, while Matt's replacement, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., was Rookie of the Year, albeit only 19th in points. Elsewhere, disappointment abounds. Kyle Busch, often called the most talented guy out there, remains wildly inconsistent. 4th and final points is his career best, but his title hopes were undone by disaster in Kansas. Equally erratic, Carl Edwards lost the Cup to a tiebreaker 2 years ago, missed the chase completely last year, and this year was seeded 5th after winning the regular season finale, but quickly sank like a stone. His teammate, Greg Biffle, is consistent. 9th this year is his 5th single-digit championship finish in 6 seasons. But not since '05 has he consistently threatened to become the first driver ever to win all 3 championships, Truck, Nationwide, Sprint Cup. Over at Hendrick, Jr. is better under the tutelage of Steve Letarte, ranked 5th in points, but the hard fact remains his win record since joining NASCAR's dominant organization, 2 for 216. Teammate Casey Kane ranked 4th after last year's long-awaited move to Hendrick, went the wrong way this year, again winning twice, but falling to 12th in points. Only Jeff Gordon's perpetual drive for 5 ended on an upbeat. The Michael Waltrip Racing embarrassment at Richmond, manipulating the outcome in favor of Martin Truex Jr., cost Jeff a spot in the chase, subsequently given back to him in a shocking display of NASCAR's all-encompassing authority. He climbed from 13th to 6th, but that's a long way from his last championship, now 13 years removed. But maybe we're too hard on these guys. Perhaps the problem is not their own lack of performance, but that their weekly efforts are compared to one of the most successful teams in NASCAR history. Jimmie Johnson's 6th championship in 8 years sets a very high standard for performance. But here's the really bad news for the guys he beats. It won't be his last.
Tough to live in the Jimmie Johnson era, Dave, no question about it. NASCAR insider Matt Clark joining me now, watching that piece, flashing back to so many moments. Matt, it kept us busy. It kept the fans at home excited. There was never a dull moment. Can you remember a year full of this many big storylines?
Danielle, and as the piece was playing, you and I talked about more stuff that didn't even make it. Eldora, other fights, other headlines. But without a doubt, there hasn't been a season that has been so full of drama. But you know what the main story has been, and to me, was Gen 6. Getting this Gen 6 car to market, getting it to our garage areas. Unprecedented work between the manufacturers to get this car where it needed to be. To look like what's on the showroom floor really is what the big story was. It gave guys a new look, guys life in the car. And look, this is only the first season with this Gen 6, so it's only going to get better. So that was the big story to me among all the other great stories that we saw, Danielle.
Certainly, we said Gen 6 about 5,000 times.
And sexy.
In February alone, absolutely. And describing this new car at the beginning of the year, Jimmie Johnson, our champion now at the end. What an unbelievable run. Matt Clark worked on that 48 team at Hendrick for several years. How do they keep setting the bar so high?
Danielle, they are absolutely relentless at performance. There's nothing they won't do to get the performance. There's nothing they won't try to get the performance. Mr. Hendrick gives them the tools that they need for performance. It is just part of their DNA. Ray Evernham set in motion winning ways at Hendrick Motorsports, and it has stayed there. That 6th is incredible.
Jimmie Johnson, best all time?
You know what? He is right there in the top 2 or 3 of the arguments, and I think before it's all done, he will be the best stock car racer of all time.
Matt, thanks so much. A lot more NASCAR Race Hub on the way. Jimmie Johnson has brought Hendrick 6 championships, and as Matt said, the plan isn't to stop there. Coming up, we sit down with Mr. Hendrick. He'll share stories on Jimmie's future.
The NFL says, my bad. Find out why in a moment.
Golden Corral's Chocolate Wonderfall has been called the 8th wonder of the world. Well, get ready for 9 and 10. Introducing sweet caramel and white chocolate balls. It's our new triple fountain yum. Drenched strawberries, big fudge squares, and holiday cookies.
Is in fact going to be the 1995 champion.
Terry Labonte, the championship.
The 3rd straight championship.
You're the champ, buddy. Great job, Jeff.
Jimmie Johnson is the 2006 NASCAR champion.
Back-to-back, I mean, unbelievable.
Jimmie Johnson makes history.
You're looking at the 5-time champion.
Champion for the 6th time, most all time.
Rick Hendrick is 11th.
One of the best franchises in all of professional sports. Incredible job.
Sure was. Since winning their 6th Sprint Cup championship, we've talked with Jimmie Johnson and Chad Knaus, who are now part of that greatest of all time conversation. The pair have won 6 titles together in 12 years, and both men have told us their accomplishments wouldn't be possible without team owner Rick Hendrick. Mr. H now stands alone with the most championships of any organization, with 11, surpassing Petty Enterprises. MRN's Tony Rizzuti caught up with the man who has set the bar in the Sprint Cup Series.
Rick, 11 Sprint Cup Series championships. Congratulations. I know after having to watch other people celebrate the last couple of years, is this one any sweeter? Where does this one rank?
You know, they're all special. But you know, you look back in the 90s, we won 4 in a row, and then I thought, well, we'll be at 10 pretty quick, and then there was a little bit of a drought. And then you hit Jimmie comes in, he does 5 in a row. And I couldn't believe it when we did 3 in a row and then 4 in a row, and you knew it had to end. And then when we had 2 years where we had problems, it was okay. Now it's hard to win these things. It's so hard to win them. This year I kind of felt like I just don't want to get excited. I'm going to convince myself that, you know, we've got a shot, but don't count on it. It's just too hard to do. And, you know, Jimmie made it look easy for a few years there. And when you see the level of competition and how good Matt Kenseth was this year, and it's just one of those things you got to not have any mistakes, but you've just got to be good at every race. You can't have a bad race anymore. And it's just hard to do because you can't control everything. It's the most pressure I've ever felt this year. I guess it was because not winning it 2 years, and but the pressure this year, even as much as I tried to deflect it.
You were the 2013 champion.
Yes! Thank you, guys. What a race team. You guys are amazing. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Now that Jimmie has 6 championships, people are going to start talking about 7. They're going to talk about Richard Petty. Oh, yeah. They're going to talk about Dale Earnhardt. Those are big things to live up to. Do you personally, target records and milestones? And at the end of the day, do you think they define your legacy in the sport?
I do have targets. I do have goals. I did want to win 200 races. That was a magical number. 100 was a magical number. 10 championships sounded great till I found out that the Pettys had 10. So then it was 11, okay? And that just pushes you to do a little bit better or to have a goal. If you get up every day and you don't have a goal and you're not trying to achieve something, then you just, mediocre is okay, you know? Just running out there is okay. The day that I go out there and run all year long and don't ever win a race, you won't see me there anymore. I mean, I'm too competitive. I mean, I think we work hard enough, and if we're smart enough, we should be able to win. I knew when we walked into the media center that was going to be the topic, now that he had 6.
I just don't want to focus on that yet. It's just not time. I'm going to unplug and enjoy the 6th and let it soak in.
I think Jimmy's goal and my goal is more than 7. You know, it's how many can he win? Can he win 8? Can he win 10? How many can he win? And I think Richard Petty did a great job in the media center. He said, I think Jimmie Johnson will win 8 or 10. And I think he's one of the best that's ever been. And Denny Hamlin saying that, you know, he, in this era, that he thinks he's the best driver that's out there.
He's a deserving champion. He's, you know, the ambassador of our sport. I mean, unfortunately for the 41 other guys that we have to race in the Jimmie Johnson era, but we're bowing down to what I think is the best driver ever in NASCAR, and I can say that because I'm out here with him and I understand and I see what he does.
And so Jimmy's getting the credit he deserves, but I think in the back of his mind, surely he wants to get to 8. It's not so much, he's got to get to 7 to get to 8, but and I don't think he's going to set his goal at 7 or 8. I think it's going to be more like 10. And I think he believes that he can do that. I believe he can. It's going to be a dogfight to get there. I don't want to say that's the target. I want to say championships, period, are targets. And I'd love to see Dale Earnhardt win one. I'd love to see Jeff Gordon win another one. I think Casey Kane will be a champion. So all of them can't win it. You know, everybody can't win it. And you go through that garage area, and I'm sure Matt thinks he's going to get it next year, and rightfully so. You just have to be prepared, plan it, and execute, and not have any mistakes. So and talking to Jimmy, he's so cool. He's not focused on that. It's in the back of his mind, but his goal is to be the best that he can be every single week, and he wants to win a lot of them, and that's a number that's there. But I've heard him say it many times. You know, if that happens, it happens. But he just wants to go out and do his best every year.
Not a bad boss right there. Thanks, Mr. Hendrick, for your time. Great insight there. Matt Clark actually worked for Mr. H. So what is he like as a boss? What's it like to work for the man?
He gets people. Let me just share a quick personal story, Danielle. I attended one of their Hendrick Merrill programs, the Live, Learn, and Hope event, supporting the Merrill program. And he sent a handwritten thank you note to me. Hey, thanks for attending, so forth, so on, which was great. But then he continued, hey, watch your transition from the team side to the TV side. Love what you're doing. Proud of you. Keep doing it. All. To me, Danielle, that epitomizes what this guy is. He cares. He's paying attention. He doesn't have to pay attention to me, but he cares about people.
Interesting in that piece, Tony Rizzuti and Rick's conversation. Rick said, this year was the most pressure I've ever felt, even though I tried to deflect it.
And I think, you know what, he's sharing from the heart. He is driven. He is a self-made man, great business ventures, but he is truly driven. And I think, you know, racing is his hobby, but it's his passion. So when he looks at those numbers, he wants to beat the Pettys. He wants to be considered the best owner of all time. He wants his drivers to be the best drivers of all time. And look, he's done a great job of putting a stable of drivers together that really, you can argue, man, they are pretty good.
Absolutely. Mr. H expects his drivers to be in the chase every year. Let's take a look at some of the numbers and how those 4 drivers did this season. Well, rack them up. 7, 8, 9 wins among the 4 drivers. Only Dale Jr. not getting to victory lane. Those 9 wins, second only to Joe Gibbs Racing. And 2 of Rick's drivers finishing the year top 5 in points, which of course includes the 2013 Sprint Cup Series champion. Pretty incredible stuff.
All 4 in the chase. Incredible.
Still coming up on the hub. Have at it, boys. No shortage of tempers this year. We saw dust-ups across every series. So which were the most memorable? Plus the top headlines from 2013. We'll count down the top 5 things that sent the media into a frenzy.
It's a special Friday night edition. UFC Fight Night on Fox Sports 1. First, Mark Hunt goes head-to-head with Bigfoot Silva.
There it is!
Then Shogun Rua battles James Tahuna.
Look at these exchanges!
A UFC Fight Night special edition. Friday at 9 on Fox Sports 1.
I'm gonna live.
Let's do this.
I'm gonna laugh instead of cry. I'm gonna live, 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 live until
Rated M for mature.
Get new game content first on Xbox.
Here's to an Italian meal the way it should be. Here's to course after course after course after course. The 4-course chef's tasting menu only at Romano's Macaroni Grill, starting at $15. Here's to calling the babysitter and saying you'll be late.
Bass Pro Shops has great holiday gift ideas at big savings. Like Sherpa Line Buffalo Flannel Shirts for under $20. Save $5 on Jumbo Adventure Playsets. Plus, check out BassPro.com for amazing daily web busters and free shipping with no minimum order.
Dropping in behind you. Give you just a little tap here. Come on, hit me harder than that. See if I can fake you high. Fake low. I got you now. Trying to block me, huh? You're looking a little loose. Time to get to work. See ya. Nighty-night.
Every year, millions of children are bought and sold. They are forced into prostitution or made to work at grueling jobs with little or no pay. Thousands of these children live right here in the United States. I'm Angie Harmon, and I believe the number of children suffering this way should be 0. Learn about what you can do to help end child trafficking. Believe in 0 exploited children. Visit UNICEFUSA.org to learn more.
Getting out of the military, I was missing this camaraderie.
It's frustrating when you try and talk to people that don't understand.
I still had the anger, I still had the addictions, but we didn't talk about that.
Came to a point where it's like, okay, I really...
Welcome back to NASCAR Race Up. So glad you could join us. You're watching on Fox Sports 1. In sport, one element that keeps fans fascinated and athletes hungry is emotion. Athletes feed off the spirit of competition, the desire to win, and persevering in the heat of battle. We sat back and watched this raw emotion unfold in 2013, which left us begging for more. Let's take a look back at the best dust-ups of 2013.
Ryan Newman tried, and he finally dumped David Gilliland.
I'm not sure this fight's over with.
Mike Skeen and Max Pat.
Today on the Hub, drivers are on the move, and Richard Petty hires one of his own. No word on the next move for Mark Martin. Larry Mack goes one-on-one with one of NASCAR's great veterans. Year 1 of the Gen 6 car is in the books. We look back at the evolution of NASCAR's latest model.
Jimmie Johnson carried the flag for the Hendrick organization this season, winning his 6th title. However, his teammates weren't exactly chopped liver. Dale Jr., Jeff Gordon, and Kasey Kahne, they combined for 3 wins. They all made the chase. That trio, the subject of today's trip to Maddie's Diner.
Jimmie Johnson bursts on the scene, ends up wrapping up championship number 6. What's it got to be like for the other 3 drivers, Dale Earnhardt, Jeff Gordon, and Kasey Kahne, to kind of be living in the shadows really this past decade
of the 48.
Larry, I think we got to defer to the gentleman over here that has understands about what shadows are really all about.
Yeah, but I'll say this, and we've all worked on teams that were at the top, that were the yardstick that everybody was measured against. You at Junior Johnson, you at Robert Yates. I mean, we didn't used to have a computer board. You just had a set of stopwatches. Right. And there were a few cars that you clocked and you gauged yourself against. If you could run within a tenth of them or whatever, that was it. That's tough enough when you're racing that organization. That when you're inside that organization, holy crap. You know that guy's got the same car. You know that guy's got the same engine, access to the same technology, access to the same owner, to the same everything. How is he able to do that? And we can't. Yeah. You know what I mean? It gets in your head. Is it even fair, though? I mean, because they're just so far above everyone.
No, it's fair. Somebody's got to be that person.
In all sports, there's people that are just exceptional talents. Jimmie Johnson is an exceptional talent. I think Junior and Casey and Jeff now just happen to have the misfortune of being on the same team.
Wrong place, wrong time.
Wrong place, wrong time. I mean, Casey is the model of inconsistency. If you say inconsistency in the dictionary, Casey Kane.
Championship material?
No way. Not until he comes at inconsistency. And it's not only that team's inconsistent, Casey's inconsistent. He's inconsistent on the racetrack.
Fast every week.
Incredibly talented. You can see why Rick hired him. Incredibly talented, but incredibly inconsistent. Jeff is just in a different place in his life. You know, I mean, 80-some wins. 4 championships. My God, he's done it all.
Can Jeff still win a championship?
No, I don't think so. And I will tell you why. I will tell you why. The King wins 7 championships. Once Earnhardt won his first one, the King never won another one.
Right.
Earnhardt won his 7. Once Jeff Gordon won his first one, Earnhardt never won another one. Once Jimmie Johnson won his first one, Jeff Gordon never won another one.
Actually, once Jimmie Johnson came along, Jeff has never won another one.
So it's like there's periods in this sport, and it's the Jimmie period now.
And I know Jeff's the Hendrick guy. He's been there for 21 years. He's going to be there, but it has to eat at him. He's a human being.
He's a competitor.
He's happy for Hendrick Motorsports, but it's like, again, really, seriously, 6 out of 12 years. And then Junior, we talk about living in the shadows. He kind of lives in the shadows 2 different directions. Yes. Now, I think one of those is dissipating. I think finally people are starting to look at him as Dale Earnhardt Jr., not Dale Earnhardt Sr.'s son.
Exactly.
I think that the comparison is finally starting to go away a little bit.
And I'm happy for you.
Yes, and that's what he's wanted. That's what he's been looking for. He's proud of his dad. He loved his dad, but he wants to be his own. And I've got to say this, I'm still not ready to sit here and say Dale Earnhardt Jr. is ready to win the championship. He's got to win a freaking race first. But I'm telling you, it's the best year he has had from Daytona to Homestead. Until those 3 drivers decide they want to train like Jimmie Johnson and give it 100% like Jimmie does, away from the track as well as at the track, it's going to be real difficult for them to ever be like Jimmie Johnson. And Jeff's not going to do it anymore. I don't think Junior's going to do it either. Casey may be the guy's the closest to trying to do something like that. A lot of work to do on that 5. I don't know what's missing over there.
You know, I'm going to throw it out there.
Say it. Go ahead.
He needs a crew chief change. He has run the same with Kenny everywhere they've been.
They'll win their couple of races
They'll win their couple of races, and that's it. And I'm sorry, they may be best friends. I don't care. Sometimes you got to
he's getting the most out of them?
That's not.
And are all drivers created equal?
How do you know he's getting the most out of him? We don't know because he's been with the same crew chief. He's been with the same guy. So, and I like Kenny Francis. That's not what I'm saying.
I will say this, and we may never know. We may never know. But I am not convinced that if you took Chad Knaus and you put him with Junior, I'm not convinced Dale Earnhardt Jr. has the success of Jimmie Johnson.
No, I don't believe that. I don't believe he will.
I'm also not convinced that if you took Steve Letarte and you put him with Jimmy Johnson, that Jimmy Johnson's able to repeat what he's been doing. That whole package is just, it's the perfect deal. It's the perfect scenario.
I feel sorry for those other 3 drivers. I feel sorry for the 3 crew chiefs because they all know they got the same equipment. If you went to Rick Hendrick today and said, Rick, I think the 48's got a better race car than I do. Rick Hendrick says, go get it.
Yeah, go get it.
But the thing is, I'm going to give him one of yours, and Chad Knaus is going to work on it. And when he kicks your butt with it, you got to write Chad down a thank you note. You know?
Yeah. You're afraid to let that happen because you're afraid he's going to take your stuff and beat you with it.
No better driver to work for, though, than Jimmy Johnson. I can tell you just how he treats his crew, how he has respect. And if there's problems, it's not across the radio. It's when you get back to the shop, and then you fix them.
He's a good guy. And
He's a great guy.
I think that is the part that fans always miss. They think he had a silver spoon. They think this was done.
Blue collar.
He is not that way.
Well, there you heard it. Like normal, driver not winning races, change the crew chief. That's the way it always works.
Hey, that's not the only thing that Kyle said that caught my ear. The other was Kasey Kahne is the model of inconsistency. How do you evaluate his first couple of years at Hendrick Motorsports, Jeff?
You know, I don't like to, a lot of times, agree with Kyle Petty, but Kyle Petty has got a very valid point right there. That's one of the things that's been very disappointing is, you know, the second year, you know, he had some inconsistency and that started the first year after Hendrick waited a full year to get him, and it looked like he was going to miss the chase, and he rallied back and he had a really strong finish, and it looked like, okay, he's finally figured out the system, but all of a sudden he started out the same way this year, and they never really got any better. Yes, they won 2 races. Yes, they made the chase, but there is something missing here, and something's got to come about getting this thing fixed, because really, in my opinion, Kasey Kahne was brought there with one thing in mind: put pressure on Jimmy Johnson and Chad Knaus so that there will be the next heir apparent or a guy to step up and win a championship, but it's not happening with Kasey. So somebody has got to make some adjustments over there to get this guy on track.
Yeah, but the way the competition is today, I'm so hesitant to say a driver had a bad season when he won 2 races and made the chase, like Jeff pointed out, 6 second-place finishes. But I have to say that he is definitely one of my biggest disappointments from 2012 to 2013. First year at Hendrick, he won those couple races, finished 4th in the points, and I went, here's another championship contender, and it just did not happen in 2013.
You win 2 races, you make the chase, as you pointed out. For most people, great season.
Unless you're Jimmy Johnson's teammate.
Yeah, but at Hendrick Motorsports, the expectations, they are high.
The bar is extremely high.
I don't know what you ordered, but you had a happy plate.
Chew my food 40 times and clean the plate.
Hey, who are you rooting for Saturday night, by the way?
Go Spartans.
That would be Michigan State. Kim on camera 3 doesn't like you right now. He's a Buckeye fan. It's the Big Ten championship game on Fox, and yes, there are BCS implications. Be with us, if you will. Our coverage begins 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. The winner gets the Big Ten trophy. A pair of young guns teaming up in the Truck Series next season. So what is it like to drive for a champion? Ryan Blaney and Tyler Reddick join us in the studio in a few. And year 1 of the Gen 6 car is behind us. How did we get to this point? A look back at the evolution of NASCAR's latest model.
We have one activity planned: not getting killed.
This is the moment I've been waiting